Hello, I'm Morgan Perry, and this is my advocacy speech. In the early 1900s, over 2 million children in the U.S. were working in factories, mines, and fields, often under horrendous conditions. This was a time when children as young as 5 years old were expected to work long hours for bad pay. I've been doing lots of research on this topic, and I want to talk to you about the National Child Labor Committee, or NCLC. I will go over 3 points, those points being background and importance, goals and objectives, and impact and success stories. First, background and importance. According to encyclopedia.com, in the year 1900, 18.2% of children between the ages 10 to 15 were employed. The National Child Labor Committee was established in 1904 in order to fight the exploitation of children in the U.S. workforce. The NCLC aimed to promote the rights, education, and physical well-being of children by advocating for laws to protect children when they began working. Its leader, Graham Wallace, investigated the lives of factory children, mine children, and orphans in the terrible lodging houses of London's East End, and the volunteers enlisted other organizations to lend a hand. The NCLC publicized the conditions that children experience in their working lives, lobbied for legislative reforms, and constantly advocated for improved living and working conditions for children. The NCLC's greatest accomplishment was helping to pass the 1916 Keating-Owen Child Labor Act, the first federal child labor law. The act banned the sale and interstate commerce of any goods made by children under a certain age. Their work helped to install reforms that protected the rights of children and ensured their provision with schooling and a safe home. But none of that could have happened without proper goals, which brings me to my second point, goals and objectives. Some of the main objectives of the NCLC are: 1. Legislation, to lobby for the passage of acts that would prohibit child labor. 2. Awareness, to increase awareness about how child labor is detrimental for children, both for their health, education, and well-being. 3. Education, to highlight the importance of children's education so that every child gets an opportunity to learn and develop their full potential. 4. Working conditions, to make their working conditions better. For instance, shorten their working hours, paying them adequately, and giving them a safer environment to work in. 5. Stakeholders, collaborate with stakeholders such as the government, labor unions, industries, etc., to help solve child labor problems. Completing their goals has had a huge impact, which brings me to my third point, impact and success stories. According to socialwelfare.library.vcu.edu, since day one, NCLC has set a mission promoting the rights, awareness, dignity, well-being, and education of children and youth as they relate to work and working. Over the years, NCLC has made a big impression, and not just because of its massive library on child labor. Here are a few of its key impacts and successes. 1. The passage of the Keating-Owen Child Labor Act, the first federal regulation of child labor prohibiting the interstate sale of goods made by children under a certain age. While later ruled unconstitutional, it helped set the stage for subsequent legislation. 2. The sending of the photographer Lewis Hine by the NCLC to document child labor early in the 20th century resulted in some of the most powerful photographs ever taken of social inequality, bringing national attention to the child labor problem and swaying public opinion and policymakers. His images are still some of the most powerful social documentary work ever undertaken. According to kids.kill.co, Hine took thousands of these meaningful photos. Number 3, the ALT's relentless lobbying helped pass the Fair Labor Standards Act, setting minimum employment age requirements and caps on net hours for children. The FLSA became the fundamental labor law protection for child workers and is often said to be the basis for modern labor rights in the U.S. 4. Related to the above point, the NCLC helped change educational laws and structures by advocating for compulsory education laws and better school conditions. This saw the share of children in school rise from 50% in 1870 to over 70% in in 1900. 5. Campaigning, publishing, and collaborating were the key to social action weapons for the NCLC, many of which identified the gap in known information of the topic of child labor. Through these efforts, public awareness of the plight of child laborers were raised, providing the basis for a wide-ranging, supportive constituency for legislative and social reform. These victories are important evidence of the NCLC's critical importance to the well-being of children and the defense of their rights. In conclusion, the National Child Labor Committee has made a huge difference in the U.S. Between their background, their goals, and their successes, the NCLC has played a massive role in shaping child labor laws and improving the welfare of the children in the U.S. To support the NCLC, we can raise awareness, donate to their cause, or just educate others about the importance of protecting children's rights in the workforce. No children should be forced to live the way that they did. Thank you.